Good morning. Today is Saturday and you are watching this daily vlog, which is me kind of reacting to the daily vlog and filling you in on stuff that happened. So this is actually a very short amount of footage because this is the day, if you followed me on Patreon where I spoke about it first, or on Instagram where I did mention it, this is the day that stuff went down. And I didn't go down, but I got upset. Also, I'm still ill, so bear with me. And talking hurts. Have I got some spray? I'm not meant to have it yet, but I'm going to have some spray now. Press play.
Good morning. Today is a Tuesday, and I am still in Morocco. And I wanted to just show you the place
like,
because we're about to leave in a minute. And I just wanted to show you the place because it's pretty damn good.
The apartment was
That's
lovely.
my lovely mother. And this is our living room, which is pretty amazing actually. When I saw the picture of this, I thought this was the foyer. And then a nice little fire, a fountain, and then
I can't tell you how
got a nice little
out I got in this
kitchen area,
apartment,
which we're not going to be cooking. We were kidding, but
I don't know why. I really don't know why. I just need to talk about it. I did not sleep well in this place except for the last night, which I think was out of pure exhaustion. For some reason, this apartment, no matter how beautiful it was, triggered every supernatural fear of mine. So, can we just go back like 10 seconds?
And then a nice little fire, a fountain.
That was my bedroom. This was my bedroom. And as you can see, it's two doors that like close and open. But there was a crack right in the middle. And obviously, as you can see, it's opposite the living room. The living room really freaked me out because it was just this big, open, dark space. And I didn't like that. So I used to leave the light on. But then because I left the light on, it left a glowing, like, crack through the crack of the door. For some reason, I was convinced every time that I would look at that door, I would see through the crack one orange or yellow eyeball that is inside the sockets of a tall, like, ghostly looking man just standing there looking through the crack staring at me. I did not like it. I really don't know why. I was obsessed with seeing that, but I was, and I hated it.
Got a nice little kitchen area, which we're not going to be cooking, we were kidding, but still, it's nice to have.
And then what you can see here is the terrace, which had a frosted glass, orange glass door. Now, weirdly, I was never scared when I was in the terrace, but when I would lock up, close the terrace door, of which you could see through the frosted glass, every time, and here is the bathroom, so every time I had to get up to go to the bathroom or look at the frosted glass door, I was convinced I would see someone. And for some reason, it wasn't the old man, but it was more of a woman, very The Ring-like kind of woman, or just a shadow standing there on the other side of the door in this terrace that is 4 stories high and no one could possibly be there. It just gives me goosebumps thinking about it. It's horrible.
Then we got an additional toilet for some reason. And we've got a bathroom that's really wet right now. I probably need to wring loads of that water out. Mum's got her own bedroom.
She's got the double bed.
I've got my own bedroom with really cool doors.
They were cool
Yeah, it's
doors.
a mess. Get over it. And this is our very own private terrace.
I loved the terrace. I loved the apartment.
Like, come on, that's pretty incredible. So yeah, yesterday was a bit of a weird one. We were literally kind of thrown into everything because we arrived late because the timing was wrong, and then we got here and then we were just thrown into this massage, which is going to be a YouTube story time. I swear to God, it was one of the most unique experiences of my life. But now we are going to go venture out over there where there's a garden. And we've been recommended the hotel, the Cafe Granada, and really yeah, nice. We can go there. And I've already learned a little bit of Arabic, and to say thank you is shukran. Shukran. May not have learned Arabic. And I can't remember how to say hello. It's salam. God damn it. You know what? This is not an educational video. This is their money, and I really like it because it makes me feel rich.
And that's called like dirham. But they also accept euros. They actually deal more in euros. And annoyingly, you can't convert that money back into English pounds. I don't know why.
There is no lift.
It was horrible.
So in Morocco, the second largest language here is French, and so my French is actually paying off. Although I actually could have spoken to him in French and I bottled it.
I did. I'm a shit house. So this is kind of footage that I would have used as a music monologue. I don't know why I've actually muted it like I would have made it a monologue, but I guess it's so I can talk over it. It was.
I have never been more terrified in my life at the prospect that this is what I have to cross in a second.
I cannot put into words how bad it is to cross roads in Morocco. You may have zebra crossings. Don't be fooled. It's a lie. The cars do not stop. The people do not stop. They just cross. They weave in and out of cars. The people. I'm back in England now, and I'm like, I have a phobia of roads, and I'm like, this is piss easy.
Holy shit.
Which way we go? Did I honestly just bleep out one word and then say another?
Oh my god.
Oh no. I'm going to try and turn it down.
Mum cross.
Right, I'm going to try and turn it down so I can talk over this, because this is kind of like nothing. But this is me just trying to film crossing a road. I don't think I really highlight how intimidatingly bad it was. This wasn't necessarily one of the worst roads. It wasn't great. But you see, like how some cars are stopped, but some motorbikes gone. The cars are still beeping at you. You have to just go. I just like would wait until someone else crossed and then ran with them. And then I'm not joking. In about 5 seconds, it's the beginning of when, for me, it got bad. Like this is it now, and it's horrible. So, within 2 seconds, I think just as I finished filming... Oh, no, just there, that man started saying stuff to me. And that's why I went, no. And that was like, at first I was like, it's fine. Like, but it gets more. That was the first of the men. So... we've just crossed the road, and now we're trying to get to the Medina. And we were like, we will walk to the Medina. I had downloaded Google Maps, so I could use Google Maps offline. And I was reading the road maps, and I was trying to just go from A to B, which is kind of like the shortcut. And to go through that was to go through here. And at first, so we arrived here. And what I didn't really show off is for some reason, loads of people sitting around here. And then this was kind of like an open space, which was full of rubbish. And it kind of just made me think, I think I'm in a much more domesticated area than I am tourist area. So we get here, and to the right of us is loads of markets and stuff. And I'm not walking around filming because I didn't want to look like this tourist, although I probably stuck out like a sore thumb anyway. So I'm actually just holding my phone so it's not stable at all. But as you can see, it's like a marketplace, but it's not the Medina. I thought we were getting to the Medina. I thought as soon as at the end there's like this stone archway, that was the Medina. And it was so busy. It was so overwhelmingly busy. And everyone was, not everyone, but a lot of people were looking at me. The next day, during our motorbike tour, the tour guide did say, if you see tourists here, they're lost. So, yeah, we were lost tourists and we didn't even realise it right now. So we're just walking along and it is so busy. So, like, chaos. It is chaos. And yeah, I still felt okay. I felt in control at this point. I felt like I was documenting my day. I felt like I was reading the map correctly. And then I thought we were going through this archway here. And we went through the arch, and that was me thinking, we've began the Medina journey now, we're here. What you can't see, I'm not even kidding, is this particular section reminded me of Warsaw Ghetto. I'm not kidding. It was so dilapidated and it was horrible, and it doesn't help, and I didn't film it because its owner was there, but it really upset me. To the left here, just behind the archway, was a donkey, and the donkey was so skeletal. Its hips were that high above the rest of its back, where it was, I don't know how it was still alive, if I'm honest. It was the most skeletal, most cruel thing I've ever seen, and it really, really upset me. And it was kind of one of those moments where I realised once again, this isn't the tourist area. And yeah, it wasn't nice. Literally just behind me now, I'm walking past the skeletal donkey, and I was like, oh no. And then basically I turned off the camera, and someone else was like, oh, to be fair, they're not shouting anything derogatory, but they'll be like, you're beautiful, very nice, very beautiful, la 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 la. And you okay? Yeah. And then and then as I was walking through, we were walking past loads of like open huts that had like shops, and they were like car tires, and then the next one would be like a fishmonger's, and it seemed once again very domestic, very not tourist, and everyone was staring at us at this point as we're walking down the roads. And to get to the Medina was here, and we had to go through the little alleyways, and when I looked through the little alleyways, I knew it's not that I knew we shouldn't have gone down them. I felt like we shouldn't go down them. They were so tightly compact, and I mean, like, we're talking tiny little alleyways, and they were just full of stuff. And once again, I was like, I don't really feel this is the tourist area. I didn't feel unsafe. I just felt like I was sticking out too much, and I was in the wrong place. I felt lost, and I was like, one of the things that everyone advised me to was don't go down the little alleyways because they're mazes, you'll get lost. So we carried on walking around, and then as soon as I saw another open archway, I wanted to get out of this area, like this shopping road street area, and we were in another vast expanse, and I still felt very exposed. And my mum was like, oh, I want to sit down. So we sat down. The moment I sat down, two boys on a bike rode back, and they're like, I want to marry you. How many kids do you want? And they were like, let me take a picture with you. I want your number. Give me your number. And I was like, I was sitting down, and they were on bikes, and I was laughing a nervous laugh, but I was like, no, no, no. And then they gave me oranges, which I was really worried about, because I've heard people like, they'll put like a snake around you and take a picture and then demand money, and I was worried they would be doing something like that with the oranges. They didn't. They did just want to give me oranges, which actually is very nice. But it was very weird. I'm just not used to that. I'm not used to being the odd one out. I'm not used to sticking out. I guess that's my, like, my cis female white privilege growing up in my home native country, but I'm just not used to that. I don't even get catcalled here. Like, I'm not the pretty girl that sticks out in that sense when I'm just walking down the street. I'm just not used to it. And then to like walk down the road, and men would shout stuff at me in Arabic, men would say stuff in English to me, and they are saying nice stuff like, beautiful, I want you to be my wife, blah 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 blah, but I don't like it. And the introvert in me very much comes out when I'm on holiday, and I didn't like it. And then my mum was just so oblivious, and we were getting more and more lost, and we eventually made it to the Medina, but we were once again in one of the bits where the tour guy said, if you see tourists here, they're lost. And it wasn't very nice. It wasn't it, I started getting more and more upset. I started getting more and more anxious. I was like shaking. I was having a panic attack because we didn't have data, and I did feel lost, and I just felt very vulnerable, and I think that's what upset me. I felt vulnerable, even though nothing had happened. I felt vulnerable. And then Mum was like, let's just ask for help, and I was like, no, no, no. And then eventually, but the people around us who were watching us could see it, and so they started coming up being like, you need help, and I was like, no, no. But then Mum was like, yeah, we do, we need to go to the town square, because she wanted to go to the town square, which we both didn't realise wasn't even in the Medina. And they were like, oh yeah, I'll take you to the town square. And they started walking us. He was like, I'll show you. He started giving us directions, but then he was like, oh no, I'll show you, it's easier. And I was like, what is she doing? As she just blindly follows the stranger. And then what does he do? He goes into this tiny little alleyway, and Mum just follows him into this tiny little alleyway. And I am not going to leave my mum alone, but I did not want to go in there. I didn't want to go in tiny little alleyways on my own. I didn't want to go into tiny little alleyways with strange men. I don't want to do that in England. I definitely don't want to do that in Morocco. But she follows him. And he's walking down, and then it's like, oh, my nephew will take you. So this nephew takes us. And then he's walking, and then at first there were a bunch of people. Then there were no people. Then we're turning left. Then we're turning right. Then we're turning right. Then we're turning left, right, left. We keep turning, and every time we turn, we're just in another dead, empty little alleyway. Not streets, tiny little alleyways. And then it gets to the point that I realise after 5-10 minutes, I don't know where I am. I'm 100% lost. There's no way I can get out without his help. And I don't know who he is. And he's talking to me, asking about England, saying I'm very beautiful, asking if I will meet him for coffee tomorrow. And I feel very vulnerable. I have a man who's asking me out. I don't know how to react to that. I don't know if he's going to just walk away if I say no. I don't want to say yes. And I was just so unbelievably terrified. And then I remember there was this one guy walking past him at one point, and they nod to each other. They could have just been saying hello, or they could have said the rape beds are ready. I don't know what. I got very scared. And then we finally get to a place, because every time we turn a corner, my anxiety goes up another notch. And then we finally get to this archway, and I can see that it's outside the Medina, like that's outside, and I wanted to cry. And he goes, if you go through there, that's the town square. And then he goes, could you give me some money? And you know what? I know, I get it, it's a con, that's what they do, but I was lost, and he got us out of the Medina. So I was like, yeah. And I gave him 100 dirham, which is about £9 to £10. And that's a lot of money. But we were lost. And then he goes, can you give me more for my friend? And all of a sudden, this guy just pops up. And, like, I'm kind of cornered against a wall. And he's like, more for my friend. And I was like, oh, no, I don't have more to give. And he was like, yes, you do. And they started arguing with me. And I nearly pissed myself through fear. And then all of a sudden, I just hear my mum over there going like, come on, Lucy. And so I just ran. And I ran until I got through the archway. And I was so scared. I was so upset. And I just saw a taxi just happen to pull up and drop someone off, and I went, Mum, we're getting in that taxi. And I was like, we're getting in it. And I just jumped in it. And my mum was like, oh no, let's ask him to go to the town square. And I was like, no, Mum, I need to go back to the apartment. I'd just been holding back tears for about an hour or two because I was just letting everything build up so much in my head. But then at the same time, although what we had done was safe, we were lucky. Like today, when I woke up, there was a headline on my phone that a backpacker has gone missing. Not in Morocco, but travellers can go missing. I think my mum walks through town like she thinks she has some sort of diplomatic immunity just because she's a tourist or something. Like, you don't follow men into little alleyways when you're in England. Don't do it in another country where you don't speak their language or have data to call for help. Like, it kind of, to me, is like common sense 101. And to this day, my mum still thinks I'm being silly or stupid. And when I got back to the apartment, I guess I could have calmed down. I guess I could have asked to go somewhere else. But 2 days in a row now, I just felt very vulnerable and overwhelmed in this country. And I was scared. And I just was so scared. And we got back to the apartment and I calmed down and I was like, fine. And my mum was like, let's go to the town square. And I was like, no. Because if that's what he had originally claimed was the town square, it wasn't. It was another derelict wasteland with a slight car park. And there were loads of people on one side selling just literal stuff on the floor. And then some people seemed to be like living on the other side on the floor. It was horrible. And if I hadn't found a taxi there, I think I would have actually just stopped and died. I just didn't know what to do anymore, and I felt, like I said, vulnerable. Whether I was or I wasn't, I felt it. And it wasn't a nice experience for me. I'm not necessarily saying it's Morocco that gave me that bad feeling. I have anxiety. I don't really, I get anxious when I go traveling a lot. I've had a similar experience happen in Amsterdam where I realized, oh, I've put myself into a vulnerable position. But that's what I'm saying, like, I feel like my mum didn't have her wits about it, and I had to follow her into this alleyway, and I didn't want to do that. And it was very horrible. It was a horrible experience, and it just really got my guard up. And then, luckily, when I calmed down, my mum was like, shall we go back out? And I was like, can we just go to Mohammed 5th Street, or I think it's Mohammed 5th Street, and it's like Newtown, and it, to be honest, it reminds me of like London. It just reminds me of a big city road. It's very modern. The roads are very wide. The buildings are very big. But I was like, there will definitely be food that we can go and eat there, and it's relatively close. So we got a taxi there, and there was actually no food we could go to because obviously being a very Muslim majority country, a lot of restaurants are still dry restaurants. But we did drive past an Italian. My mum loves Italian, and it was not a dry restaurant, so we went there. And this is what this clip is. And the clip is, you could actually smoke in this restaurant. And I'm sitting there and I'm enjoying it, and it's really nice. And it was actually a beautiful restaurant. Everyone was so friendly. Most people spoke French there, so it was easier for me to communicate with. And the food was actually delicious. Spoiler alert, we went back there for our dinner every day for the rest of the week. And they even let us buy bottles of wine to take back to the apartment. So honestly, it was such a stressful day, but the evening was lovely. So thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, support, Patreon and all that jazz, because that was one heck of a story. Thank you very much. Bye bye.